Welcome into Sun Devil Sources, continuing coverage of Arizona State baseball. Tonight, Arizona State fell to Long Beach State 14-9. The 7th-ranked Sun Devils fell to the 3-23 Long Beach State Dirtbags. And Jack, it started rough for the Sun Devils, giving up 9 runs in the first 2 innings. What did you see out of the pitchers tonight for the Sun Devils?
I mean, ASU was in a tough spot tonight because of how many guys they had to use on Sunday and over the weekend in sweeping Arizona. They were really limited. They had to go through the bottom parts of their bullpen. We saw guys like Don Cachone start for ASU. He only got through 1 out in the first inning before having to come out. Other guys, Colby Davis had to come in tonight. He hasn't pitched much this year. Luke Laflamme. What Tracy Smith basically said about it was tonight was an opportunity to see what some of these other pitchers have in the tank. They haven't pitched a lot this year, especially in important games and in high-leverage situations. And what he found out is some of them aren't quite ready for those roles. I think Laflamme probably looked the best out of those guys. Mark Lidd, the infielder pitcher, was good, and Tracy Smith said he's probably going to be a piece of the bullpen now. But for ASU, that's the disappointing thing for the Sun Devils is you know that you don't have a bunch of pitchers. I'm sure that they would like to add a couple more guys to the mix of the 5 really reliable guys they have in the bullpen. But tonight, you didn't really see that in their first real opportunity of the season to kind of showcase what they had back there.
And this was a game, I think it looked a little bit more like one of last year's games for Arizona State. A couple errors for the Sun Devils, 7 walks that ended up scoring for the Dirtbags. Is there any reason for concern after a night like this?
Not based off this one game alone. I think what tonight does show and what it kind of accentuates is the fact that the last couple weeks ASU has started to come back to earth a little bit, both with some of the pitching stuff. They've been walking more guys, especially since Pac-12 play started. They're not hitting as well with runners in scoring position. They're committing a few more errors than they had beforehand, which was to be expected when you start playing better teams, when you get into conference play, and then you have these midweek games thrown in. But I think what it shows is, they were flying so high early in the season. They're going to face some tougher times coming up, especially when you look at their upcoming schedule and having to go to USC this weekend and then UNLV. They still have to play Oregon State and UCLA and Stanford. Those are all tough teams. So right now they're a top 10 team in the country. They're probably competing to host a regional. But just based off that hot start alone, there's still a lot of work that they have to do. And I think still a lot they have to prove, especially in Pac-12 play and ability to compete consistently against some of these better teams that tonight you could have had an opportunity to go into USC on a high note, maybe even been able to rest some guys and still pull out a win. They weren't able to do that. So it's just something to keep in mind as ASU moves forward. So I don't think any reason to be overly concerned, but just a reminder that tougher times are ahead, tougher schedule stretches are ahead, and if you're expecting them to go 25-0 down the second half of the stretch of the season or whatever it was, probably not going to happen.
So Tracy Smith calls this one a reality check for the Sun Devils tonight. He did say that this Long Beach State team is much better than their 3-23 record, as they've had a very tough strength of schedule. But right now, for Jack Harris, I'm Rob Werner. This has been a Sun Devil Source post-game show.